Hello and welcome to this new video on my channel Be Your Best. I am Manish Farasi and I am on a mission to enable people to live as their best versions, become their best versions and live their best versions every day. So in this series I have been talking about a lot of self-development principles, concepts related with neuro-linguistic programming, law of attraction and other techniques. So in today's video, I'll be talking about the very fundamental concept which is required for us to appreciate if we want to tread or want to become more than what we are today. And that point is about experiencing something which is beyond the physical entity that we think we are. Now, when I talk of physical entity, it means this mind, this body. That is what I'm aware of. That what I am this body, I am this mind. And the five senses, the sense of sight, the sense of hearing, the sense of smell, the sense of taste, and the sense of feel, these are all that I have to experience this world. But what these five senses are helping me is to seek something which is external, to experience the external world. And there is nothing which is required, like there is no special knowledge or special training required for us to use these senses. Let me give you an example. Now, if you send an infant, like a very small kid, into a forest and he finds something which is of interest, which he thinks is eatable or something, or you give him something edible, he will naturally put it in his mouth. Now, nobody taught him that, but that's the natural. So, that learning comes without any effort. There is no striving which is required for survival. So, these five senses have been provided to us to survive in this world, and there is no striving beyond putting ourselves under rigorous training or something which is required to use these basic five senses. Now the challenge with these five senses are that these are all outward bound. Now if you look at even if a ant moves on my skin, I would feel that, but there is so much blood which is flowing inside me and I am not feeling that. So this sense is again outward directed. Again, you can use my sense of sight to see what is there outside, but I cannot reverse these eyelids and see what is there inside me. Similarly, I can hear sounds which are external, but there is a lot of sounds which are happening inside my body, like the sound of the nerves, the blood pumping and all, which I am not really able to hear. So what I am trying to say is that all these senses are outward bound and they will not give us a sense of what is beyond this physical. Now let me give you an example about when you have to teach somebody certain skills. Now these basic survival skills like eating, hearing, these are not required to be taught anywhere. But let's say if you remember when you were a small kid and you were made to write that letter A, if you remember how difficult it looked, that just to put those three lines together, it was a nightmare. And there was a lot of effort which was required for us. And now even if you see a small child, a lot of effort the child will put in to just make that A. Even if you look at a very grown up adult who is uneducated, who is illiterate, and you try to teach him to write letter A, he will struggle in the same way like a small kid. So something which is beyond survival needs striving. Similarly, why I am giving that metaphor is that experiencing something which is beyond this physical entity, which is beyond, it needs a little bit of striving. And that striving is going within, looking within. Everything outside, these five senses are telling us, but what is there within us to experience that? Just close your eyes sometimes and just try to reflect back. Even a small little bit of breathing exercise would give you a feel of that dimension which is beyond this physical. Now that access to that dimension through meditation or through concentration, by just realizing the kind of energy that we have, this body, the most sophisticated gadget which is there, much more smarter than the best of smartphone which is available. But we are not really, we are taking it for granted. So there is something which is running this body, this mechanism so perfectly that we are bound to appreciate, we should appreciate that energy which is beyond our intellect, which is part of that infinite intelligence. So any self-improvement journey or self-development journey, in my experience, first requires us to appreciate this non-physical aspect of ours by understanding that we have so much of energy or so much of intelligence which is residing within us. And I would say that just strive to achieve a little bit of access to that intelligence, which you can start with very simple meditation, 10-minute breathing exercise by closing your eyes, sitting in a closed, undisturbed environment, and just focusing on your breath. That's a very basic meditation. And as you start this seeking journey, then you start a little bit of chanting within. It will take you beyond this physical dimension. Now, I cannot explain that in words because it's very personal, and it cannot be really described what that feeling is. But once you get access to that, there'll be different experiences that you will have, which you will cherish. You will realize that you are much more beyond what you think you are. So I hope I was able to communicate that message clearly in this video. And I would request anybody who wants to have a serious self-development, so start thinking about how do I go beyond this physical and experience that. So I'm sure that you would strive to get on with that journey. And until I see you in my next video, I hope that you would have experienced a little bit of non-physical aspect of yours. So if you like this video, I would request you to please press like so that more people can see this video. Thank you very much. Till I see you next.